Hi, hello. Welcome to the episode of Isaiah's Newsstand. It's your host, Isaiah Edwards. The date is February the 19th, 2026. Hopefully this episode finds you well, in good spirits and high hopes. As for me, I'm doing pretty good. Happy Thursday to ya. Hopefully it was a good one. As for me, as for myself, I would say yes, it has been a good Thursday. We got up, got ourselves together. We headed out to work, nice and proper, got there at a nice, timely fashion. And we just got to work. Work was very slow. I was able to string together enough work to keep me downstairs at the crusher up until maybe the last hour of work. Then I had to kind of go upstairs, kind of prattle around, cut down some boxes, make myself look busy. And then I came back downstairs to close out the day for like the last 15 minutes. It's pretty much how my day went. I will say a cool thing that happened was finally we got our ADP working, at least on our mobile app, like on our phone. So that was nice to be able to finally put in my request, get it approved. So that's awesome. We love that. A bit of stability, normalcy, is being restored to the warehouse for me, and that's good. Let's see though. Post work, we went to the gym. Actually, not quite. I had to do a little bit of errand work throughout the day, like really mild stuff, really this, that thing, but things for me, I wanted to get done. So, one of those things was picking up some money. And then the other thing was picking up a blue Hawaiian monster. Pretty much all this week, I've been trying, not new monsters, but they're new to me. Energy drinks, of course. The zero sugar ones, I've been really gravitating to those because I'm on my skinny girl shit. You know what I'm saying? But I won't go through the whole rigmarole of all of the ones I've tried in the reviews. They've all actually been pretty good, especially when you compare them to just the default white monster that just kind of tastes like something you learn to accept. But the one I got today was I think was an Ultra Blue Hawaiian, which, I don't know, sounds like something really crazy and not like a good drink. But overall, it was fine. It was good. Good to drink for, my, essentially my pre-workout. But, no, we then went to the gym and got in a pretty good session. Busy for a Friday. But I was able to get in free weights. I was able to get in the Smith machine. I was able to get in filler, and I was able to get in core work. I only did about 15 minutes of Stairmaster, and that was my cardio for the day. I know I've really been lacking. Look, I'm girth maxing at this point. I don't know. I'm just getting fatter. No, I don't know. It's overall, it's fine. It's been good, but it was a good gym session, so I'll take it. Then came back to the house, did a quick reconnoiter, and then went back out to run some more errands. Once again, just random odds and ends shit. But this stuff kept me out, and, now I'm back home and, got some research in. Oh, also I did my stretching and, a little bit of snacking throughout. That all got done. But, now we're finally home. It's maybe about an hour till midnight as of recording this. So yeah, probably this is going to be an episode you see on Friday. Yes. But, thank you for bearing with me, and also in advance, mea culpa if this episode's a bit scatterbrained. It's crazy too, because when I lined it all up, I wasn't sure exactly what I was covering. I knew a couple of stories. But when I saw it all, I was like, oh my God, dude. Literally the whole episode is pretty much like, oops, all pedophiles, and then one slave owner. that in a quick summary of what we're about to go through for today, that is the thing. And I was thinking about that, and I'm like, man, wouldn't it be nice to just be an Olympic commentator? Wouldn't it be nice to just be like like celebrity gossip guy right now, man? Like, I want to talk about like people getting slapped up and elbowed. Like, I want to talk about those things, not pedophiles. But here we are. I know my beat. I know my road. But anyway, let's go ahead and do our startup and let's get into some news. I did listen to, I believe this was a Australian like reporter or something like that, commentator, I don't know, whatever. She was like commentating for the Olympics, and she got into a bit of trouble because she got a little too drunk, a little too randy. Oh, is randy the right word? Whatever. She got a little too drunk, drank a little bit too much, a little extra sip or too many. And she was just talking about frozen iguanas and the price of coffee. And I'm like, honestly, let her cook. Let her keep going. She's just like me for real. Oh man, I could be talking about curling drama. Wouldn't that be fun? we could just forget about it all. We could talk about finger in the fucking stone. That could be us right now. No. Anyway. Okay. All right. First story comes from CBS News. 8 skiers dead after avalanche near California's Lake Tahoe. 9 still missing. So this is a update on a story we covered earlier in the week. Authorities said 8 of the 9 skiers reported missing after an avalanche near California's Lake Tahoe have been found dead, with the 9th skier still missing but also presumed dead. The avalanche was reported near Castle Peak in Nevada County, north of Boreal Mountain Ski Resort, around 11:30 a.m. Tuesday, as a heavy snowstorm moved through Northern California, bringing blizzard conditions to higher elevations. A total of 15 backcountry skiers were involved in the avalanche, the Nevada County Sheriff's Office reported, with 6 of those people surviving and being rescued from the site. So that is where we had left off, and then this kind of closes out the chapter, finding out the fate of the 9 skiers. So I did want to wait till that had happened. Obviously, it's very unfortunate. But I don't know, man. I don't know. Weirdly enough, this feels like a lighter story, even though we're talking about people losing their lives. But once again, I already talked about more or less the main crux of this story. Excuse me. But yes, let's go ahead and move on to one that's definitely kind of been taking up a lot of air space, a lot of oxygen on the timeline feed for my news today. From the Associated Press, former Prince Andrew arrested and held for hours on suspicion of misconduct over ties to Epstein. The former Prince Andrew was arrested and held for hours by British police Thursday on suspicion of misconduct in public office related to his links to Jeffrey Epstein, an extraordinary move in a country where authorities once sought to shield the royal family from embarrassment. It was the first time in nearly 4 centuries that a senior British royal was placed under arrest, and it underscored how deference to the monarchy has eroded in recent years. Dude, I guess, man. I think this is so fucking chalk to say. Like, it's more like the evidence is just so insurmountable that they're like, oh my god, we cannot keep fucking running bat for this guy. Like, he's just too prolific of a fucking pedophile monster freak. We can't defend this. You were never able to, by the way, but you did. You chose to do it. Like, what are we talking about here? It's like this is a fracturing of the thing. No, old Sausage Fingers is still king of the fucking goddamn pond, man. Like, what are we talking about here? Obviously, a lot of this shit gets me riled up, but it's just crazy how we're acting like anything is changing here. But I'll get to it. King Charles III, aka King Sausage Fingers, whose late mother lived by the motto, never complain, never explain, took the unusual step of issuing a statement on the arrest of his brother, now known as Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor. Dude, I think the press is kind of annoyed about having to use the three names, and that's why we're all resorting to former Prince Andrew. Like he's like an artist formerly known as like the Prince. Let me state clearly, the law must take its course, the king said. As this process continues, it would not be right for me to comment further on this matter. Yeah, shut the fuck up. Let me see here. Oh, this is, I feel like, important to say. The Thames Valley Police Force said Mountbatten-Windsor was released Thursday evening, about 11 hours after he was detained at his home in eastern England. He was photographed in a car leaving the police station near the Royal Sandringham estate. Police said he was released under investigation, meaning he has neither been charged nor exonerated. So to me, this makes it feel like this was just like a perp walk. It was just a show. Like, we're not even doing anything yet, but they're trying to show the people, they're trying to show the world, hey, look, we actually are finally taking it seriously. Yes, we let this motherfucker lie and live on the dole for years and years and years and years. And then maybe when the tranche and the fucking memoir from Virginia Joffrey finally came out and everything, we said, all right, we'll kick him out of the house and we'll make him pay his way. Like on the land that is King's estate, it's King's land, but he can live there. He'll pay. He'll be paying. We're finally really like handling it. It's like, brother, it's too little. It's too late. So what is this for? Like, leave him in the fucking jail. Put him in the fucking dungeon. Like, what are we doing? He's not this. He's just alleged. Da da da. Like, I know they say that shit, and I'm sure I should be saying that shit too. But I got like 10 people who fucking listen to me, man. I don't give a fuck. Fuck this guy. Fuck this pedophile, man. Oh, I don't sweat. Yes, you do, man. You're sweating right now, bro. Police previously said they were assessing reports that Mountbatten-Windsor sent trade information to Epstein, a wealthy investor and convicted sex offender, in 2010, when the former prince was Britain's special envoy for international trade. Correspondence between the two men was released by the U.S. Justice Department late last month, along with millions of pages of documents from the American investigation into Epstein. So yeah, this is another thing that's kind of bothersome too, right? Because you would expect, if you saw that headline, oh, he got arrested, it's for the fucking, sex with underage women, sex with, statutory rape. You know what I'm talking about here. God damn it. You would think it'd be that. But it's like, no. We're getting him over the fact that he was literally doing like trade secret shit, like internationally. Which isn't that like treasonous ass fucking activity last time I fucking checked, right? But I don't know, man. I'm sure he's gonna somehow find a way to glide on this shit. I hope I'm wrong in that speculation or assessment, man. But like, what was this? Like, because clearly this is real. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you have the evidence right there. So like, I am only imagining if you're actually going to, do some real investigating, do some real sleuthing, you're gonna be able to connect the dots and actually have a real case. I don't know. We'll see. Time's going to tell there. And we'll see if they actually go along or go ahead with it. And not to mention the other stuff that I mentioned. Like, once again, the sex with the underage women, sex with the girls. Yeah. So yeah, that was the first pedophile that I wanted to cover for today. There's obviously more details here. Even referencing the one person that they did arrest way back, right? I think it was the first King Charles, if I'm not mistaken, and they lopped his fucking head off. I thought that was pretty fucking cool. Yeah, here we go. The last time a senior British royal was arrested was almost 400 years ago, during the reign of King Charles I, that saw a growing power struggle between the crown and the parliament. After the king attempted to arrest lawmakers in the House of Commons in 1642, hostilities erupted into the English Civil War, which ended with the victory of a parliamentary for the parliamentary forces of Oliver Cromwell. Sorry, I'm laughing to myself because this is something I've listened to a podcast about the history of England. I'm still working on it, but this is one of the parts that I've kind of listened to, and it is very crazy. Like, I'm like, dude, this Cromwell guy, it was loved and hated, but at least in this situation, I was fucking with him because it's like, yeah, dude, this king shit is not working. This guy's got to go. He's got to go. And they fucking got his ass out. King Charles was arrested, tried, convicted of high treason, and beheaded in 1649. The thing that sucks, though, is then, years later, another king would then take the throne again. And it's like, you guys can't quit this shit. It's like, it sucks to just see a nation state addicted to monarchy, man. And don't get me wrong, I can't talk shit, even in America. Like, we want a king so bad, we elected one. And we might let that guy just fucking run the shit for forever. Or at least, play kingmaker and pick the next guy and the next guy and the next guy. I don't know, man. But, like, it's just, it sucks to see. I would like to see at least a world where no theocracy is existing, no monarchy is existing. Like, we can at least say we should be governing ourselves. We don't need a group of people who are supposed to be other than us telling us what to do. What the hell, man? Yuck. Maybe that's the American in me, right? I don't know. All right. Let's move on. Pedophile number 2. Perhaps maybe the source code. Pedophile 0. I don't know. Well, let's get into it. God damn it. BBC. Billionaire I always want to call him Lex, and he's not Lex. He's Les Wexner tells U.S. lawmakers he was naive and conned by Epstein. And a little pre-insight here from me, or a little speculative. I think half of this is actually true in terms of the conned part. U.S. billionaire Les Wexner, who is alleged to have played a key role in helping Jeffrey Epstein build his wealth, has described himself as naive, foolish, and gullible for trusting the late sex offender. In a statement to U.S. lawmakers at the start of a closed-door deposition on Wednesday, the former CEO of Victoria's Secret lingerie brand accused Epstein of stealing vast sums of money from his family when working as his financial advisor. I just want to say, too, here, I think it's crazy that these are closed-door depositions. I found this out when Hillary Clinton did some interview with the BBC where she mentions this, and she's like really upset about it. Like, I think we should have this in public view. I'm like, yeah, I actually agree. I agree with her. I hate to when I agree with Clinton, but hey, so sometimes you got to. It's weird that you're having this shit behind closed doors where we don't get to hear what you're actually saying, what Wexner is saying. Like, no, I think everyone wants to know that. And not just have to take your word for it, or, know that, okay, well, we got to the bottom. We got our answers we needed. Like, no, you. Let's see. Wexner, who is testifying before a House committee as part of its probe into the Epstein case, has denied any wrongdoing. He was described as a potential co-conspirator of Epstein's in a 2019 FBI document, but no charges were ever brought against him. Lawmakers accused the billionaire, who gave Epstein broad powers over his finances, of knowing about the other man's crimes but failing to stop them. Wexner had been called before the House of Representatives Oversight Committee to answer questions surrounding his relationship with Epstein in the wake of the release of thousands of documents related to the financier's wrongdoing. Members of the committee traveled to Wexner's home state of Ohio, for the testimony. A spokesperson for the 88-year-old tycoon told the BBC, Mr. Wexner honestly answered every question put to him today by the committee, and you can trust us. Mr. Wexner reiterated that he has no knowledge of and did not participate in Epstein's illegal conduct. He stands by that fervently. Only Democratic lawmakers attended the deposition. No Republican lawmakers traveled for it, though some of their staff members did attend. That's such a fucking terrible look, man. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying this gives Democrats any fucking points here for just doing a bare minimum job here, but it's crazy that the Republicans didn't even want to show up. Like, this doesn't matter, man. And what's sad is probably they're right. This shit is it's just a fucking show. They're not gonna do anything. They're not gonna talk about nothing. This dude's going to talk about how he was somehow some kind of fucking putz. How he somehow didn't know and wasn't involved in the trafficking of girls, young women. Come on, man. And I guess I kind of want to just flash forward to, like, I guess what I think it is. Because I know that there's become this running joke that, like, I don't know, Epstein power bottomed for Wexner or something. And then he became so endowed or endeared to him, whatever, and was like, okay, yeah, I love you, Jeff, I'll do anything. And then, like, he got himself so roped in, so enmeshed in Epstein that he gave him the keys to the house. He gave him everything, gave him too much power, too much control. Maybe something to that effect. I think it's definitely the more thing that you can see, or, kind of at least suspect, right, is that there's some kind of involvement with Wexner and him in terms of, hey, you hung out, you partied with me, you did the things that you wanted to do with me, much like a Bill Gates, much like, all these other motherfuckers who are roped into his web, his network. And it's like, yeah, man, we're having a good time. We're doing this and we're doing a little of that. And we're talking about it to each other. And yeah, maybe I have a little bit of evidence of that on you. Maybe I do have a record of that trip, you know? Maybe it's on a camcorder somewhere. Who knows? But, you know, it'd be crazy if that got out anywhere, right? Anyway, I could totally use a loan. I'm sure it's something to that effect. Excuse me. So in that regard, sure, I think Wexner got conned. I think Wexner got a little duped there, in over his head, doing the fuck shit he should not have been doing. Granted, you know, that's not anything I can prove. That's all speculative. I have to say that, of course. But I don't know, man. I just think it kind of becomes this like wishful thinking that we just want there to be some kind of weird thing where like Jeffrey Epstein just had to put his thing down, flip it and reverse it and bounce on it crazy style. I don't know. I mean, big if true, funny if true. But yeah, I mean, regardless, though, it's obviously sick, fucked up shit. Maybe that's why people do it. They kind of throw in a little bit of levity where they can here. I don't know. But yeah, I don't know if anything's really going to come from this kind of deposition. I would love, just like we're talking about putting charges on goddamn, you know, Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor, I would love to see some fucking charges thrown up for fucking Les Wexner. You know what I mean? His name has just come up so many times, you know? Oh, I'm just some fucking dumb idiot. I'm just some dumb rich idiot with so much money. I didn't do anything bad with it. Never, ever. All right. From one freak to the next, but this time it's international. Actually, I'm kind of have to bury that part. We'll get there, though. From NPR. Jose Maria Balcazar, I'm sure I'm fucking that up, becomes Peru's 8th president in a decade. Peru's Congress late Wednesday elected legislator Jose Maria Balcazar, we're going to say Balcazar, that rolls off enough, as the country's 8th president in a decade, replacing another interim leader who was ousted the previous day over corruption allegations just 4 months into his term. I believe that there was something they called it Chefagate, but essentially it was like because the scam or the things were happening like at Chinese restaurants, but something of the, I forget the details of it, but I think we're talking something to the effect of like bribes or things of that nature. Sorry, apparently it is the witching hour and my cough is just rearing its head. Balcazar, an 83-year-old former judge representing the leftist Peru Libre Party, defeated 3 other candidates with a majority of the 130-member legislature. The revolving door presidency in Peru reflects a political crisis fueled by a lack of legislative majorities for leaders. Lawmakers have frequently used a broad interpretation of a constitutional article regarding permanent moral incapacity to remove sitting presidents. Balcazar, a retired judge with nearly 30 years of experience in the judiciary, was sworn in shortly after the vote by the president of the Congress, Fernando Ross Pigliosi. He will govern for 5 months before handing over power to the winner of upcoming elections. Peruvians will choose a new president and legislator on April 12th. If no presidential candidate receives more than 50% of the vote, the 2 frontrunners will advance to a runoff in June. Balcazar's successor will confront a surge in murders and extortion that continues to devastate small business owners and the working class. Various political groups are demanding firm guarantees for a transparent election. Balcazar told journalists that he will ensure that the upcoming elections are unquestionable, that macroeconomic policies will remain unchanged, along with sound monetary policy, so that economic agents can work without concern, and that he will seek to refocus the fight against organized crime. Congress had voted to remove conservative interim President Jose Jerry after 4 months in office. The current Congress, which began its term in 2021, has now impeached 3 heads of state: Pedro Castillo, Dina Boluarte, and Jerry. Now, I think we came in literally at the tail end of Castillo and then learned about Boluarte a little bit, and then shit, I just recently heard the shit with Jerry as he was getting the boot. So I was like, fuck, man. Like, it really is just a revolving door. Like, 8 presidents in a decade. Like, thinking about that makes my head spin. Like, you have the UK situation, and they're wonky about it. You know, like, we saw the Tories just literally replace people. I think the head of lettuce lasted longer than Liz Truss. So, I mean, yeah, we've seen weird, but, like, damn, dude. Like, it's crazy that this is so blatant, the corruption, and then just the way that the politics can work here. We're like, no, you're corrupt. You're fucked. We all see it. We all know it. We're calling you out on that. You're gone. Let's see. In October of 2025, Jerry was serving as president of Congress, and was next in line to replace Boluarte, who has no vice presidents. Goodness gracious. His own removal followed revelations regarding his undisclosed meetings with Chinese business owners, including a state contractor. Jerry asserted he was merely coordinating a Peruvian Chinese festival. Maybe getting a succulent Chinese meal. Anyway, I'm going to take a quick water break. Oh, man. But like I said, I buried one of the through line here. So I got to go to the Guardian, because I literally didn't know this until I was like looking for like another thumbnail or something like that. But, leftists who defended child marriage elected as Peru's interim president. And I said, what the fuck? What the fuck, man? In 2023, the former regional high court judge sparked controversy as the only lawmaker to criticize and vote against a measure to ban child marriage. He said the ban should be limited to those under 14 only. And then he was like, they asked him, when questioned about those remarks in an interview for a national radio broadcaster on Thursday, Balthazar replied, "I will not change my mind. I'm firm in my convictions." Hey, man, maybe you can just say you were wrong. At the very least, you could just say, hey, now would be the second best time to kind of say, I'm wrong. That was a fucked up thing of me to say. And he said, nah, I'm standing firm. Cool. So I can't wait till he's gone. But yeah, all right. Let's move on to our piece de resistance. A founding father, old George Washington. And we're dealing with history and potentially the erasure of it by our new God Emperor, old Orange Naga. But yeah, let me go ahead and take our last break. I think I need it. I'm hacking up a lung, and I'm doing things that are not going to help said lung, but so it goes. Such is the way. But yeah, let's get to that last break, and then we'll close it out. Oh, man. For some reason, I'm really feeling the day. I don't know if it's me being overconfident and maybe not pacing myself enough. It's just a long day, or it's just this is 30 issue, being 35 years old. I know I'm griping like I'm old, but I feel so old. Where's all my energy? But then I also remember that I'm just way more active than I have ever been in my life. All right, from the Associated Press. Slavery exhibit removed by Trump administration is returning to Independence Mall in Philadelphia. An exhibit detailing the lives of 9 people enslaved by President George Washington in Philadelphia is being reinstalled on Thursday, despite an ongoing legal fight between the city and the Trump administration. The stories and images that had been on display for 2 decades were abruptly removed last month following an executive order by President Donald Trump. The city subsequently sued for the exhibit to be rehung, and a federal judge set a Friday deadline for its full restoration. Mayor Cheryl Parker visited Independence Mall, the site of the former president's house, on Thursday morning. I want you to know I'm grateful, Parker said, as she introduced herself to several of the National Park Service workers lifting large panels back onto the display area. Parker is the first black woman to be elected mayor in Philadelphia. It is our honor, one replied. The restoration work was expected to continue throughout Friday. The U.S. Attorney's Office, which is appealing senior U.S. District Judge Cynthia Roof's ruling, declined to comment on the restoration work. A spokesperson said, Trump's order called for restoring truth and sanity to American history at the nation's museums, parks, and landmarks. The administration argued that it alone can decide what stories are told at Park Service properties around the country. Although many people feel strongly about this slavery exhibit, one way, other people may disagree or feel strongly another way. Assistant U.S. Attorney Gregory Indenbergen, which is an interesting name, argued during a January 30th court hearing. Ultimately, he said the government gets to choose the message it wants to convey. Roof cut him off, calling the comments dangerous and horrifying. As the fate of the exhibit played out in court, educators brought students to the site to reflect on the missing history, and supporters of the exhibit posted messages such as Washington owned slaves here on the empty walls. Independence Mall is one of several historical sites where the administration has quietly removed content about the history of enslaved people, the LGBTQ plus community, and Native Americans in what some call an erasure of the nation's history. In a 40-page opinion issued on President's Day, Roof compared the Trump administration to the totalitarian regime in the dystopian novel 1984. If the president's house is left dismembered throughout this dispute, so too is the history it recounts, Roof, an appointee of Republican President George W. Bush, wrote. Worse yet, the potential of having the exhibits replaced by an alternative script, a plausible assumption at this time, would be an even more permanent rejection of the site's historical integrity and irreparable, she wrote. Ruth granted an injunction ordering the restoration of the materials while the lawsuit proceeds and barring Trump officials from creating new interpretations of the site's history. A spokesperson said Thursday that the Interior Department had planned an alternative display providing a fuller account of the history of slavery at Independence Hall. On Wednesday, government lawyers asked the restoration order be put on hold while their appeal plays out. It is not yet clear how the decision to restore the exhibit would affect the court case. The exhibit... sorry, I hit the fucking microphone. God damn it. The exhibit includes biographical details on the people enslaved by George and Martha Washington. Martha Washington at the presidential mansion. Austin, Paris, Hercules, Christopher Shields, Richmond, Giles, Oni Judge, Ma, and Joe. When the exhibit was taken down, it was very devastating for the city. It was very devastating to me personally. I value the visibility of Black history, which is American history. So I'm really happy that it's restored, said Jabari Sherry, a Philadelphia resident who visited the site Thursday. Millions of people are expected to visit Philadelphia, the nation's birthplace, this year for the 250th anniversary of the country's founding in 1776. A lot of people are going to be coming through the streets, said Tatiana Alvarez of Los Angeles, who stopped by Thursday. It's a very historic town, but it's important that we acknowledge the history of America, all of our history, whether that's easy or difficult history that is tackled here. So yeah, this is one of the things that I had realized was unfolding throughout the week, and I'm like, okay, I gotta find some time to talk about this. I think it's very important, not just because it's Black history and they're literally erasing Black history, but obviously for me to insert myself into it, being a podcaster, this is literally something that I grew up and had I had the experience of going and like feeling that moment. And I can't remember if this was actually the Washington estate or if this was like Jefferson. I think it was Jefferson or something. But either way, I took a trip. I've mentioned this trip before. But I took a trip to Washington D.C. with my school, and we went. I think there. I think we went maybe like we went to several spots in around the area, right? And one part of the trip was going to an estate, of one of these fucking founding fathers, these motherfuckers, and you get to walk around, see all the grounds, see everything. But an important part to me was being like in the slave quarters, and then like the person who's like guiding us around saying like, yes, this is where the person, this person's slaves lived, and and you're like thinking like, wait, there's so many people that you named or that would be here that you rattled off. How would they all fit in here? Like, it's like, yeah, they just kind of made that work. And like, granted, these would be nicer for them because this was obviously, like I said, the more I'm thinking it out, I think it might have been Jefferson, but I might be fucking wrong. But anyway, it's like they're saying, hey, this was their life. It was condensed down to this and working all the time. And I'm just thinking, holy shit. Meanwhile, once again, these are people who had their names on the fucking Constitution, right? Talking about freedom and all this fucking shit. What I'm getting at is these things matter. It provides the kind of like context. It provides the like, it really can put you in the moment and make you understand like, fuck, man, for better or worse, this is fucking America. And I think you need to have that takeaway. I know I did. I think that it was very useful to me. It's, yes, I forget certain aspects of it, but like the feeling is something that has been instilled in me, and it is something that I go back to. And to just say, imagine going to a place like that now in Trump's America where they've completely just whitewashed it. They've just said, some slavery stuff happened here. It's awkward, whatever. But like, it's good to be an American, it's frustrating. It is a frustrating thing to see them poke and play around with, and then to say, hey, we have every right to do this because America is up to our interpretation. We won. We're the executive branch and we get to dictate the pace on this. And it's like, no, man, like that's not how any of this democracy works. But once again, that's how they're saying it works. And, if it's not for, a couple of judges in the way saying, actually, that's not, and then, then what they say is going to go. And even then, sometimes they will find workarounds. So it's a frustrating thing. But I will say it is good to see people fighting for the history. I think it's important. So good to see that, as quick as it was taken, like a thief in the night, it was good to see it, restored back, and hopefully it stays. But yeah. That is where I will leave it, though, for today. If you'd like to help out support the effort, I do have a Patreon. Patreon.com/IsaiahNews. Become a newsie today. Free ways to hit me up, IsaiahNews1@gmail.com. Feel free to follow me or the podcast on any of the socials. Subscribe to the YouTube. Follow on TikTok. Follow on Spotify. Wherever you like to listen. Apple Podcasts, too. Yeah, why not? Let's see. Leave a like. Leave a cool comment. Sharing is caring. 5 stars on Spotify, 5 stars on Apple Podcasts. But if you don't do that, that's A-okay. Thank you for hanging out with me. Thank you for letting me cough it out a little bit there. But yeah, hopefully I see you soon for some more good news. I love ya. Bye-bye. Mwah.